And this is the latest coming in as the government is reviewing preparedness on COVID, keeping a very close eye on the BF7 variant in particular. Source-based information coming in on how there is a need for continued surveillance, and the government is keeping track of existing emerging variants. The BF7 variant in particular is a matter of concern. Is the variant responsible for the surge in cases in China? Is highly transmissible. 3 cases of this variant, that is of the Omicron lineage, have been detected in India last week. Let's listen in to what the Niti Aayog has to say on this. Listen in.
Ministerial level review will be undertaken. No panic, abundant precaution. अगर हम उस तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं तो abundant precaution के क्या मुद्दे हैं? पहली बात है कि खांसी जुकाम इस मौसम में होता है। हम विंटर में हैं, हम ठंड के मौसम में हैं। तो पहली अपील ये है कि खांसी जुकाम हो रहा है तो आज की सिचुएशन को देखते हुए अपील करना चाहेंगे कि उसमें आप टेस्टिंग करवा लीजिए। हो सकता है और 90% चांस है कि शायद ये नॉन कोविड होगा, लेकिन अगर हमने अर्ली डिटेक्शन करनी है तो तभी करेंगे, कोई टेस्ट करवाएंगे। तो एक अपील भी है और सिस्टम भी इसको प्रोत्साहित करेगा कि टेस्टिंग हो, टेस्टिंग बढ़ेगी तो हमारा फुटप्रिंट ज़्यादा होता है, प्रॉब्लम जो है वो डिटेक्ट होगी, उस वायरस का आइसोलेशन होगा, उस वायरस का जीनोम होगा, तो हमें पूरी ताकत मिलेगी और हमें समझ रहे कि हम किस तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं। दूसरी अबंडेंट प्रिकॉशन क्या है कि हमें प्रिकॉशन डोज हमारी ड्यू है। लगभग देश में 18 के ऊपर प्रिकॉशन डोज सबको लगनी चाहिए, लेकिन लगी है सिर्फ 27-28% को। देश में 18 के ऊपर प्रिकॉशन डोज सबको लगनी चाहिए, लेकिन लगी है सिर्फ 27-28%। तो हम अपील करेंगे कि प्रिकॉशन डोज जिसको नहीं लगी है वो ले लीजिए। ये भारत की पेंडेमिक रिस्पांस का एक पिलर है, पॉलिसी है, वैक्सीन अवेलेबल हैं, तो उसको तरफ जाइए। और पर्टिकुलरली जो हमारे सिटीजन्स, सीनियर सिटीजन्स हैं, वो कोई छूट गए हैं प्रिकॉशन डोज से, तो हमेशा की तरह जैसे हम पहले भी अपील करते थे कि उनका हमें ज़्यादा ख्याल करना है। सीनियर सिटीजन्स क्योंकि वल्नरेबल हैं और बीमारी वाले व्यक्ति वल्नरेबल ज़्यादा होते हैं, तो ये खासकर उनके लिए अपील है कि अगर आपको प्रिकॉशन डोज नहीं लगी तो लीजिए, लेकिन सभी को प्रिकॉशन डोज जो है वो मैंडेटेड है, गाइडेड है और उसको आप लीजिए। अगला पॉइंट ये आता है कि हमें इसके अलावा भी जनरल प्रिकॉशंस लेनी है जो।
And joining us on the broadcast is Dr. Anika, Baidya, Senior Consultant Infectious Diseases. She's joining us live from Delhi. Very good evening, Doctor. I want to talk to you about the BF7 variant because that particularly is a concern at this point, given the 3 cases that have been detected in India in the past week. That is also the variant that is responsible for the spike in cases in China and how it has worsened to this level. You think India should now take a call on banning all flights from China altogether?
So yes, since it's now again it is a variant of concern. We are seeing surge of cases in China, in US, in Japan, in Korea. So we need to tighten our guards now. Again, last few months we had seen that the things has gone back to normal. But yes, the COVID is not letting us forget it. We need to understand it's a new variant. It is escaping the immunity. It is easily transmissible even to those who already had COVID. So just thinking you had past history of COVID and not getting yourself vaccinated is challenge to our country. Go for a precautionary dose. Just like as the Ministry of Health is recommending, go for your precautionary dose, the booster dose that was announced early this year from January itself, 2022, January 2022, the precautionary dose was announced and it was recommended to be taken especially for people who are at high risk, people who are frontline, and now to everybody. So please go and take your precautionary dose. This variant, I'll say BF7, again has certain mutation in it which actually evade the immunity. So what we understand by this, that it is easily transmissible, it is very highly infectious. if it is evading your existing immunity, that means if somebody had recovered from COVID infection, he or she might not is again susceptible to this variant. So looking at both these parameters, and if we see the vaccination rate right now with the booster in our country, I am actually scared. So we need to prepare in all aspects regarding COVID infection, that this time we don't see what we had seen in the second wave. As other countries, we are also facing, developed country like Japan and US, they are struggling to curtail the COVID. And another question that restricting the flight from China, the government has to take a call, but at least we can start screening at airport properly and strictly. People have to look in all aspects. If somebody is traveling from, even if we are not restricting at this point, if somebody is traveling from these affected countries, they have to be screened for if they are having any symptoms. Also in India, we need to screen this variant. So genetic testing to know where we stand is very important for this virus. So if we just, as last week only you have highlighted, we had 3 cases. So if this has reached India, it can spread in our country. Though we have different level of immunity in Indian setting, we had seen different phases. It's not always similar what we see in the West, in US,
Right.
but yes, if we see what is going throughout the world and we are better prepared, we can if there are chances that this COVID will cause less damage. But if we are not prepared, then I am scared. Actually, I am scared looking at the vaccination rate, the precautionary dose. It's so less. People have taken it lightly. They have forgotten about COVID. I see in the markets, people are
Yes.
roaming here and there without a mask. Social gatherings are happening.
Yes.
We know we need to go back to normal, but we need to understand if something alarming is there happening throughout the world, it is better to take precautions rather than be sorry later on. And when the situation goes out of control, when we
Absolutely agree with you.
when
There
we
is
land
a
up in a
sense of
situation when we
complacency
don't
that
have
is prevailing
enough
amongst the
facility.
people. And you're very right on that, Dr. Baidya. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you here. Please stay on with us, because several other aspects that I want to talk to you about, but more reactions that are coming in this time from the Karnataka Health Minister. We'll try and play out that response. But he is certainly urging people to take the booster dose, like you mentioned. Karnataka Health Minister saying that they are monitoring the situation at the airport very, very closely, and all positive cases will be tested for the strains that they have had. Let's listen in.
According to me, Indians are quite safe because of the effective and successful implementation of the vaccination. When 100% of our population is completely protected with the vaccines, with double doses, I appeal to all of them to take this booster dose at the earliest. We will be monitoring at the airports, and we will try to send all the positive infected cases to the INSACOG for knowing any new, through the genomic sequence, we wanted to know what kind of strains are being witnessed there.
Dr. Baidya, I want to come back to you, because while international passengers are being very closely monitored, you were talking about the vaccination rate. And I believe that still is a higher percentage in comparison to the booster doses, which have not been taken in that number. Would you recommend that that must be taken very seriously at this point? Also, there should be a bigger campaign to make people more aware of its importance?
Yes, very definitely. So if I see the rate of booster dose, when the people come to us and we ask whether the booster dose has been taken or not, so they tell very lightly that, doctor, we have not taken the booster dose, we have completed the 2 doses and the vaccination certificate is complete. So we need to understand now, this has to be made mandatory by the administration, as we had seen in recent past. When we have to have a vaccination certificate for international travel, for travel in India also, for certain recommendations were there, and limitation of activity if you don't have a vaccination certificate. The precautionary dose has also to be introduced in that. This is important to understand. Also, as it's a virus which mutates very fast. So as we are seeing, new variants are coming here and there, and it is mutating so fast. So existing immunity, if I talk about last year, whatever immunity was there because of the vaccination or the natural immunity, and we had seen the third wave has in the January 2022 itself, didn't cause much trouble to all of us and in between the spikes. But this time, since the gap has been more than a year that the people got vaccinated for the 2 doses and missing booster doses, I feel we have to be alert now when a new strain is coming, and globally developed country including China, Japan, US is facing crisis related to COVID. Yes, we have to pull up our socks and to alarm everybody that if you have not taken your booster dose, please go and get it as early as possible.